So I think it's safe to say that I'm not the only one who got hyped for Questism's ending. Since Questism is a part of the PTJ universe, the cliffhanger of it ending with Soohyun's gang book and Daniel's ally teaming up is absolute cinema. I also made a video about it a while ago saying that it'd be PTJ's next biggest project, which to this day I still stand by. But I'm an impatient little shit, and for months and years, and well, maybe not years, but at this point it feels like I've been waiting for a decade. Look, everyone knows Matt is the Lookism guy, and Logan is the fashion Manhwa guy. But Questism is my thing, and now that it's over, I just can't help but feel. But I remember I had free will and access to CapCut, so look, it was either this or making a shitty gotcha fanfic video. So what if a Lookism and Questism crossover actually happened? Now I do want to preface that this video is simply for my own PTJ fantasy, and the last thing I want to do is listen to anything you losers have to say. So if anyone complains, I'll send a pipe bomb to your mailbox. That's a joke. That is a joke. I'm legally required to say that's a joke. But anyway, join the Discord. We're this close to reaching 2,000 members on there, so join up. And speaking of joining, I do have a Patreon, and for just $5, you two get to feel absolutely robbed. I mean, you do get updates on videos, and you do get to see videos early before it ends up on the channel. Not to mention, you get your name plastered at the end of every video. It's a great way to help out the channel, and an even better way to feed my crippling spending addiction. Also, follow my Insta. 誰だ?
これ、僕ダイヤルの電話番号出会ってますか?
そうだけど、お前は?
キム・ソヒュンというものです。ヨハンから番号をもらいました。あなたの問題について少し聞いて。
それで?
俺たち、ちょっとは役立つかもしれない。
Alright, for this glorified fanfiction to work, we need to set the mood. Conflict, check. Overpowered antagonist, double check. And a group of emotionally unstable teenagers with delusions of grandeur, we're cooking. So picture this. Busan's arc just ended. Everyone's sore, traumatized, and pretending they're not crying on the inside. They should be heading back to Seoul for some well-earned peace and ramyeon, but no, of course not. Because now they've made an enemy out of James Lee. Not just James Lee, the James Lee. The man built like a Greek statue and smarter than your average high school valedictorian. And now, he's the head of H&H, has a private army, probably a monthly subscription to the White Tiger Job Center, and he might just be the final boss of everyone's character arc. So yeah, they're cooked. And that's where our story begins. On the edge of a full-blown corporate martial arts war with no plan, no army, and a rapidly dwindling supplies of functioning brain cells, let's begin. The bruises were still fresh, the air still smelled like smoke, and the crew was already preparing to head back to Seoul. But one thing weighed heavier than everything else combined. James Lee. They had made an enemy out of James, and he's not just some overpowered freak, no. James was a monster with brains, hands, and now full control of H&H. With that kind of power, he wasn't just a threat. He was an empire in motion. So the allied crew tried to call in the big guns. First, Jinrang, King of Busan. Come to Seoul, they said. Help us take him down. Jinrang leaned back, arms crossed, calm as ever. He told them, if I leave, Busan's wide open, and we both know James doesn't miss an opening like that. There was a pause, then his eyes locked onto Daniel's. But I have been watching you. If anyone has a shot of taking someone like James down, it's you. And I mean that. Jinrang added, you're not ready yet, but one day, when the time comes, call me. I'll be there. And he wasn't just saying it, he meant it. It was respect, not blind loyalty. Jinrang was a realist and a loyalist, but he believed in Daniel's potential, and that said a lot. Next, Daniel faced Jaegyeon, the king of Incheon. They figured maybe he'd be willing too, especially with his personal beef with James now. But Jaegyeon shut it down fast, saying, I'm already in bad waters with him. If I leave Incheon now, he'll burn it to the ground. There was no bitterness in his voice, just certainty. I already failed this city once, and I don't plan on doing that again. And unlike Jinrang, Jaegyeon had no backup, no crew to hold the line while he was gone. Just him. So, Allied returned to Seoul with nothing but stress and regrets. Picking a fight with James Lee was stupid. Picking a fight with James Lee after he took over H&H was a death sentence. He had corporate reach, ties to the White Tiger Job Center, possibly even maybe Yamazaki, and maybe what's left of the 10 geniuses. To be honest, it was like Charles Choi never left, except this version is younger and hits harder. The crew gathered on J-High's rooftop, staring into Seoul like it had answers. "We don't have numbers," Vosco said. "Or the resources," Zach added. "We're basically a group project without the guy who actually knows what he's doing." Daniel thought to himself, maybe Chairman Hong could help, but he's for sure not gonna help on the front line. More like after the fighting. And that's when Johan, chilling on the AC's unit, spoke up with a mouthful of vending machine snacks. He swallows. "I'm throwing hands." Everyone turned and Zach said, "What?" He hops down on the vending machine and says, "I might know someone." Johan shrugged. "Back in Gang Book, an underdog. Last I saw them, they got real potential. I haven't seen them in a while though. I don't even know if they're still around." Hearing this, Daniel perked up. "It's a shot in the dark," Johan said. "But we don't have a lot of those left. I'll reach out and see what happens." And that's where our prologue ends. James Lee is ready, Allied's not. The war's coming anyway. Gangbuk changed. It wasn't the kind of change you'd see in a shiny new part of town. No, this one ran deeper, quieter. The sort of change that sneaks up on you and leaves you wondering if you missed the memo. Johan walked through the streets, feeling the difference in the air. It was subtle, but it was there. People smiled more. Kids didn't huddle in alleyways with who knows what like they used to. No blood on the pavement, no heavy suffocating tension. And as much as Johan's tried to stay vigilant, I mean, it is still Gangbuk, a small part of him liked it. Gangbuk used to be his. He ruled it with an iron fist. People feared him, respected him. He made it his empire in one night. And anyone who didn't fall in line learned the hard way, but now it was different, and somehow better. Johan's eyes scanned the neighborhood. A couple of kids hang out by a corner store, laughing, and a mom calling her son inside. No one seemed nervous, and no one looked over their shoulder. He even saw a group of students walking by wearing the West Gangbuk High uniform. Soohyun school. He couldn't help but let out a quiet chuckle. This was his Gangbuk too, but it was cleaner, kinder, and honestly, he respected that. It was hard to even recognize the old place. The school he used to know had been a breeding ground for chaos. Now it stood as a beacon that's something better, safer. So he walked towards West Gangbuk High. It had the same worn out texture, but everything felt different now. The kids he used to hide inside were now running the show, and the walls were decorated with posters for actual studying, school events, and even community outreach. Johan smiled a little. He never thought that he'd see the day when Gangbuk's reputation wasn't just feared, it was respected. He made his way inside and no one stopped him. There was a slight tension in the air. Some recognized him, some still feared him, and others just weren't sure who the hell he was anymore, and that was fine with him. Johan headed to the third floor, classroom 3B, where the room where Kim Soo-yeon was most likely hiding from any serious trouble. When he pushed the door open, Soohyun didn't even react, but he was there. The same guy, same calm eyes, same uniform, no swagger, and he still looked like a nerd. No tough guy posturing, just Soohyun. Soohyun glanced up from a stack of paperwork and he blinked, as if confirming his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. Then his lips curled into a faint, respectful smile. Johan. It wasn't the overly casual greeting of an old buddy, but there was no mistaking the tone. Respect, maybe even a bit of admiration. Johan leaned against the doorframe, smirking. It's been a while, Soohyun. Soohyun stood up, brushing a few papers aside, saying, Yeah, it has. Yeah, said Johan, his eyes scanning the room. Didn't expect to see this when I walked in. Soohyun gave a half-hearted shrug. Things changed, he says. Yeah, no kidding. Johan's gaze lingered for a second longer on the now peaceful classroom. You've really done something here. Soohyun nodded. I've tried. Johan stepped inside, crossing his arms. You didn't try. You did. This place doesn't look like the hellhole I left it, and I gotta admit, kind of impressed. Soohyun glanced at him, his expression still respectful, but reserved. Well, I learned how to take over from the best. Johan smirked. Yeah, well, I guess I was pretty good. The smile didn't reach Soohyun's eyes. He was careful, deliberate. Something tells me you're not just here to reminisce. What's going on? Johan didn't waste any time. James Lee. Soohyun blinked like an idiot. Sorry, who? And there's more than one idiot in this room. Johan forgot that not everyone knew who James was. DG, he said. And Soohyun froze for a second. The idol? Johan nodded. Yeah, that DG. Soohyun leaned back, scoffing under his breath. I always knew idols were bad news. I even told my sister to stop seeing his concerts. Johan gave him a flat look. This one's worse. He's not just bad news, he's apocalyptic. The guy's not playing around anymore. He's taken over H&H completely, and that means full control of their operations, resources, networks, everything Charles Choi from the news left behind. Soohyun, visibly concerned, arms crossing now. Wait, hold up. That guy's running an entire corporation? Since when did dancing in leather pants turn you into a CEO? Johan smirked slightly. Trust me, he was never just an idol. DG was the mask. James is the real monster underneath. Soohyun's eyes narrowed a bit. The joking tone was gone now. And you think he's coming after Gangbuk? I think he's coming after everything. Seoul, Jae-hai, Allied, anyone who gets in his way. I'm not bringing this mess here, but I came because I trust you. And because I've seen what you've done here. Soohyun went quiet for a second. Then, as dry as ever, so you're saying the guy who sang Fantastic Baby now wants to kill us all? Johan cracked a smile. Yeah. Welcome to my world. Soohyun sighed and shook his head like he was already regretting saying yes to this conversation. Alright, let's talk. The classroom was quiet now, just the hum of a busted light above them and the low creak of Soohyun's chair as he sat back down. Johan stood arms crossed, gaze steady. So, that's where we're at. James Lee, or DG, whatever you want to call him, is in control of H&H. He's got connections to the White Tiger Job Center, some gang in Japan called the Yamazaki, and what's left of some group of people called the 10 Geniuses. Daniel and the rest. We're cornered. Soohyun stared at the floor for a moment, his expression unreadable. I mean, we're talking about a full-blown corporation, Johan, he finally said. And we're high schoolers. This isn't a turf war or some gang beef, this is an empire. What are we supposed to do, file a complaint to HR? Johan let out a dry chuckle. Yeah, well, if they have a complaint box, we totally missed it. Soohyun looked up again, his face serious now. Do you really think we can win? Johan didn't answer right away. He walked to the window, looking out at the peaceful schoolyard below. I don't know, he said honestly. But I know what happens if we don't try. Soohyun didn't respond, but Johan could see the tension in his shoulders. The hesitation. You've got people here, Soohyun. Good people. I saw it the second I walked in. Johan continued. You built something I couldn't. Something worth protecting. Soohyun exhaled through his nose, clearly torn. Look, I don't want to drag you into something that could tear this all down. Johan said, softer now. I just need you to know what's coming, in case it ever reaches your doorstep. He walked over and set a crumpled slip of paper on Soohyun's desk. A number. It's Daniel's. If you decide to talk, call him. Tell him I sent you. Soohyun picked up the paper, slowly staring at the digits like they might bite him. I won't push you. Just think about it. Before he left, he paused. I like what you did. Don't let anyone take that from you. And with that, Johan was gone. Soohyun sat there alone now, staring at the number in his hand. His friends, his school, his peace, and the weight of the world, far bigger than Gangbuk, crashing down towards them. The bell rang and students poured into the hallways for lunch or for fresh air. But on the rooftop, Soohyun stood with his usual calm eyes towards the city skyline. Hyundong came sprinting up first, panting hard.
You called? I ran up here in case it was an emergency.
You run like a plastic bag, Han Jae-ha muttered, lighting a lollipop like it was a cigarette. Young Gukja followed behind, slapping Hyundong on the back. You okay, bro? You look like a deflated balloon. Soohyun gave them all a small nod as they arrived, and Hajun-gu quietly posted up against the wall, arms crossed. Ji-hyuk Chang adjusted his crooked glasses while flipping through a small notebook. Yoon-hyung-ji strolled in last. Couldn't this have waited? It's a preliminary season, you know? So what's up, Soohyun? Gukja asked, serious now that they were all there. Soohyun held up a slip of paper that Johan gave him. I got a visit from someone. And Soohyun explained the gist.
Wait, Johan?
Yeah, he came by this morning and told me about DG.
You mean the pop star?
Ji-hyuk perked up.
Hold on. The DG? The idol? With the abs?
Yoon-hyung chimed in. Kang Da-kyung, huh? He was on billboards for 6 months, then he just disappeared. Turns out, Soohyun said slowly, he didn't disappear, he took over H&H, and now he's basically in control of almost every region in the country. And the group went silent.
And we're high schoolers.
Hyundong finally muttered. No shit. Jae-ha finally replied. What the hell are we supposed to do? File a tax audit? As Soohyun continued to give them the rundown, you know, Daniel's crew, John's desperation, and the scale of what was coming, he didn't traumatize. He just stated the facts, but the weight settled heavy in the air. I don't want to drag you guys into this, Soohyun said. Johan gave me this number, but if we step in, there's no going back. Gukja looked around at the others and then back at Soohyun. So, what do you want to do? Soohyun paused and his eyes softened. I don't know yet. Then Haru stepped forward.
If this involves Johan and he came to you, then I trust it's serious, but we also trust you, Soohyun. Just say the word and we move.
Jae-ha sighed, saying, guess business has to close down. Hajun nodded once, arms still folded, but that was his version of I'm in. Hyundong raised a trembling fist.
We're not letting some ex-idol stomp on our turf.
And Yoon-hyung smiled. Do we even have a plan? I've heard of Ally, Seoul's strongest crew. If not even they can handle it themselves, how would we fare? Ji-hyuk calmly closed his notebook.
If we're doing this, I'll start compiling data on H&H's structure right away.
Soohyun gives a faint grin. I don't know either, but if we're going to war, I'd rather go with you guys. The words hung in the air, a quiet hum of loyalty passing through them. But Soohyun looked at the slip of paper again. His expression shifted, more serious now. Not heavy, just real. You guys know me. I've never asked you to fight any of my battles, but this isn't just my fight. It's not even just Johan's or Daniel's. It's bigger than all of us. DG or James, he's not some schoolyard bully. He's a monster in a suit with the power of a corporation behind him. They're not just rumors anymore, they're real and they're moving. He took a breath. If we step in, we're risking everything. Our safety, our school, each other. This could put targets on our backs from people that are way out of our league. But if we don't do anything, what then? What happens when he decides Gangbuk is next? When he sends people to our streets, our homes? When he takes over every region, every crew, every voice that might have stood against him? He looked up again, a gaze firm but calm. We're just high schoolers, yeah, but if we wait for someone else to fix this, then we've already lost. A pause in his voice. His voice softened, not weaker, just honest. Look, I don't know how this ends, and I don't have a plan, but I do know one thing. He looked at each and every one of them. If I'm going to stand against something like that, I want it to be with people I trust most. Silence again. This time it wasn't uncertainty, it was choice. They were all thinking the same thing. Jae-ha rolled his eyes. Don't get too emotional. It's annoying. Young Gukja just gave Soohyun a firm nod. Hajun met his gaze and gave another one of his silent approvals, and Haru stepped forward and clapped Soohyun on the back. Well, think about it, but I think we already know the answer. Soohyun smiled. Then let's not rush. We move when we're ready. Until then, we prepare. The confrontation between them finishing, we cut to a conversation between Johan and Daniel. Back in Seoul, Daniel stood there with his phone in his hand, his eyes scanning the city. The wind pushed at his hair as Johan leaned on the rail beside him. He's thinking about it, Johan said. Daniel let out a slow breath. That's better than a no. Apparently, Johan muttered. He's not the kind of guy who jumps into situations blind. Not when it puts his people at risk. Daniel nodded. I get it. He's got a lot to lose. You're not the only one who does, Johan replied, finally turning to face him. These aren't soldiers, they're friends, family. And we're asking to go up against a goddamn shadow empire. Daniel looked down at the streets below, then back at Johan. Do you regret it? What? Dragging Gangbook back into this. Johan was quiet for a moment, and then he smiled. Tired, a little bitter, but genuine. That's the thing. I don't think it ever left, he said, because if anyone's gonna fight for the people, it should be the ones who have already been through hell and didn't fold. Daniel didn't respond immediately. The weight of what was ahead sat between them like a storm cloud. We'll fight smart, Daniel finally said. Johan gave a short laugh. Man, you really are turning into a protagonist. Daniel smirked. With that haircut, you might as well be. He sits on the edge of his bed, phone buzzing in his hand. The room is quiet and dimly lit, and he picks up. Hello? It's Kim Soohyun.
It's me. I've made my decision.
Daniel stands up, his eyes widening slightly. You're in?
Yeah, we've got your back. I talked to the guys and...
Daniel frowns, the call crackles, distorts, and then a cold, smooth voice replaces Soohyun. Hello, Daniel. Daniel's expression hardens instantly. James? And you would thank your little friend Koji for letting me cut in. You guys really should change your passwords more. What the hell do you want? You really are something, aren't you? After everything I did for you, you turn your back on me? I told you before, you're too valuable to throw away. Then stop wasting your breath. I'm not joining you. A pause, and then... You sure? You should consider the consequences of decisions like that. Seoul's a big place. Your mom's coming to visit, right? It's so easy to get lost in a city like this. And Daniel, don't make the wrong choice. Daniel clenches his fist. Go to hell.